The day he left, she didn't scream, she didn't beg, she didn't even stop him. She simply placed her hand on the doorframe and whispered, "Lord, hold me together." Because sometimes the deepest pain isn't loud. Sometimes it breaks you in silence. And that was the day Grace's world shifted forever. Grace was the kind of woman who filled a room simply by being in it, not with noise, not with flamboyance, not with attention-seeking energy, but with peace. A soft, unshakable peace. Every morning she woke before dawn. She brewed tea. She opened her Bible with worn-out pages. She whispered prayers over her husband, Daniel, prayers he never saw, never heard, never thanked her for, but prayers that built their home like invisible pillars. She prayed for his work, his health, his strength, his walk with God, even his weaknesses, the ones he didn't want to confront. Grace carried her marriage like a ministry, believing that love required patience, commitment, and sacrifice. But sometimes, love can blind you to cracks forming beneath the surface. And sometimes, the softest people get taken for granted the quickest. Grace didn't know it yet, but her peace was starting to irritate a man who didn't appreciate calmness. It started slowly, like a curtain being drawn by invisible hands. Daniel became distant. His greetings grew shorter. His presence in the home grew smaller. He began scrolling on his phone with a smile he no longer showed her. He'd take calls outside instead of beside her. Grace felt it, not through suspicion, but through silence. Silence, the kind that speaks louder than shouting. She tried to ask, "Is everything okay?" But he brushed her off with a tired, "I'm fine, just stressed." Grace didn't push. She believed in compassion over confrontation. She prayed instead of accusing. But every prayer felt heavier than the last. Until one evening, she noticed the cologne. A new fragrance. Stronger, bolder, more youthful. Not the one she bought him last Christmas. Not the one he'd worn for years. Grace felt a whisper in her spirit. A shift is coming. She held her chest and closed her eyes. "Lord, give me strength to face whatever truth is unfolding." The moment that changed everything came on a rainy Thursday afternoon. Grace was cleaning the living room, humming softly to herself. Daniel's jacket was draped over the sofa. She lifted it to hang it, and a small paper slipped from the pocket, a receipt. Her breath caught. Dinner for two. Expensive wine. A dessert she knew Daniel hated. A bouquet. A hotel reservation. Her fingers trembled. Her eyes blurred. Her heartbeat thudded like distant thunder. She sank onto the couch, holding the receipt like evidence of a crime committed against her soul. 1,000 thoughts swirled in her mind, but none of them formed accusations. Only a quiet ache, the kind that asks, "Why wasn't I enough?" Grace didn't shout, didn't storm into his office, didn't call friends to vent. Instead, she walked to the bedroom, knelt beside the bed, and whispered, "God, help me accept the truth, and help me survive it." That night, Daniel came home late, the scent of unfamiliar perfume drifting behind him. Grace stood in the hallway, calm but broken. "Daniel, can we talk?" He sighed. A long, heavy, irritated sigh. "Grace, I'm tired. Can this wait?" "No," she whispered. "It can't." Daniel glanced at her, not with tenderness, not with patience, not with love, but with guilt disguised as annoyance. He rubbed the back of his neck. His eyes darted away. He couldn't look at the woman who had prayed for him more than she prayed for herself. Finally, he said the words that shattered her world. "I'm leaving. Grace, I found someone else. Someone who understands me better. Someone who makes life exciting. Her name is Vanessa." Grace didn't collapse. She didn't slap him. She didn't plead. She just stood there, still, quiet, composed, while her heart was breaking inside her chest. And she whispered, "Then may God go with you, Daniel. And may he heal what I can't." Daniel blinked, surprised. He wanted drama. He wanted an argument. He wanted a reaction that would justify his sin. But Grace gave him none. Because her strength wasn't loud. Her strength was God. Without another word, he packed a bag and left. Just like that. Years of prayer, devotion, partnership, and sacrifice. Walked out the door. Daniel stepped into Vanessa's world like a man who had discovered oxygen for the first time. She was everything Grace wasn't. Bold, flirtatious, impulsive, unpredictable. To Daniel, it felt exciting, refreshing, wild. He mistook chaos for passion. What he didn't realize was this: fire that doesn't come from God burns everything it touches. Their relationship started like a whirlwind. Trips, parties, nights of loud music and reckless joy. But soon, the storm revealed itself. Vanessa was jealous, fiercely, possessive, aggressively, unstable, dangerously. She demanded attention, demanded gifts, demanded loyalty without offering any. And arguments, they weren't disagreements. They were battles. Screaming matches at 2 a.m., accusations without proof, broken objects, threats drenched in emotion. Daniel started regretting things, quietly. But pride can trap a man longer than love can save him. He stayed, even when his peace was dying, even when his spirit was shrinking, even when his health began to decline. He stayed because he didn't want to admit that he walked away from a blessing. Daniel's life spiraled. He lost clients. They said he seemed distracted. He lost weight. Stress melted him into a shadow. He lost sleep. Vanessa's temper kept him awake more nights than he could count. His bank account drained. His friendships faded. His confidence disappeared. Every night, when Vanessa stormed out after an argument, when the apartment fell silent, when the smoke from their shouting lingered in the air, Daniel found himself scrolling through old photos of Grace. Her smile, her gentle eyes, her calm spirit. He suddenly remembered the meals she cooked when he was tired, the prayers she whispered when he was struggling, the silent support she always gave. He remembered the nights she stayed awake to encourage him, the mornings she laid her hands on his shoulders and prayed blessings over his day. He remembered her love, and regret hit him like a flood. Daniel whispered into the darkness, "Grace, I didn't deserve you." But regret is a prison that offers no escape unless humility unlocks the door. While Daniel drowned in chaos, Grace began to rise, slowly, painfully, beautifully. The first few weeks were brutal. The silence felt like punishment. The bed felt emptier than ever. The memories hurt like fresh wounds. But Grace clung to God. She prayed through tears. She worshipped through heartbreak. She attended church, even when her legs felt weak. One evening during prayer, she heard a whisper in her spirit, "I will restore you, but first I must release you." Those words healed something inside her. Grace realized she wasn't abandoned. She was being delivered. Her friends rallied around her. Her pastor checked in. She joined a women's fellowship group where she found comfort and strength. And slowly her laughter returned. Her joy returned. Her identity returned. She discovered that heartbreak doesn't kill you, it transforms you. Months later, Daniel came back, not as the confident man who left, but as a broken, shaky, humbled version of himself. He stood at Grace's door, holding no flowers, wearing no smile, carrying no excuses. Just regret. When Grace opened the door, the light behind her felt like God himself was standing in the hallway. Daniel swallowed hard. "Grace, I made the biggest mistake of my life." She didn't answer immediately. She looked at him, this man who once held her heart, who broke it without mercy, who now stood before her seeking forgiveness. Finally, she spoke. "Daniel, I forgave you before you ever came back. But forgiveness does not always restore what was broken. God healed me, and I cannot go back to what wounded me." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, he truly understood what he had lost. Grace offered him kindness, not bitterness, compassion, not revenge, closure, not reunion. And that was the greatest lesson of his life. Grace walked into a new season, not because life was perfect, but because God rebuilt her. She began mentoring other women. She grew stronger spiritually. She discovered her worth not in marriage, but in God. Her story became her ministry. Her pain became her testimony. Her healing became her worship. Grace didn't just survive, she transformed. This is the story of a woman who lost a husband, but found herself. A woman who was betrayed by man, but restored by God. A reminder that not every separation is the enemy, some are divine protection. God never lets his children lose what they need. Peace is priceless. Never trade it for temporary excitement. What breaks you today can build you tomorrow. God sees your tears, but he also prepares your victory. To everyone watching who is hurting, you are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being rebuilt. Your story isn't over. God is still writing. And when God restores, He restores better.